The first episode of Secret Invasion is out, and man, what a explosive first episode. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be breaking down and reviewing the first episode of Secret Invasion, and man, this was a great start to the series and I can't wait to talk about it. Before we get started, we're on the road to 500 subscribers, so if you guys are here for the first time, hit that button and join us. Lastly, I read all the comments on my videos, so if you have any theories or thoughts about this episode, please leave one down below. I will be sure to read it and I most likely will respond. But anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to break down the episode first and then I'm going to give my thoughts. This episode starts with Agent Ross, who we last saw in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, meeting up with this guy named Agent Prescott. He tells Ross that there's a secret invasion, hence the name of the show, going on where these Skrulls are coming to Earth because they couldn't find a planet to live on. Ross brings up the fact that Agent Fury is on the Saber Station. Saber is the organization we've seen multiple times now, first in WandaVision and then we saw him again in the Captain Marvel 2 trailer. So now we know for a fact where Fury has been all this time and why Talos was impersonating him in Far From Home. This made me think, was Agent Ross possibly a Skrull in Black Panther? This show is going to be doing a lot of that and I'm really excited, especially with what happens later on in this episode. So Agent Ross isn't really feeling it and Agent Prescott actually attacks him. I'm guessing he thinks he's probably a Skrull or probably an informant, but then Agent Prescott actually gets shot. Ross escapes and then he gets chased down by the pursuer. We think the pursuer is a Skrull, but when they finally stop Agent Ross and he gets killed, it's actually revealed that Agent Ross was a Skrull and the pursuer was Ben Mendelsohn's Talos. Already in the very beginning of this show, we have such a massive twist that was really hard to see coming. Before we go any further, yes, I know that the opening title for this show is not the same as the Marvel movies with all of the characters, but what we did get in replacement was this really cool piece of art that I hope plays every time. I also want to point out that Samuel L. Jackson is an executive producer on this show, so hopefully we're going to get some of his influence on this show and its characters and its story. After the opening credits, we see Nick Fury arrive back on Earth. He goes and meets up with Talos, and Talos is actually the one who called him here because something is going wrong. If we look back to Captain Marvel, we remember that the Skrulls wanted to live on Earth, but it turns out they couldn't find anywhere, and some of them wanted to live on Earth. Talos tells Fury that his wife has passed away and he is no longer with his daughter Gaia. She's sort of missing and sort of has gone rogue. We also see Talos is working with Maria Hill, and this is really cool because we're kind of getting a S.H.I.E.L.D. team back together. But after that, we actually cut to the United States because they're currently in Russia, where we meet up with Don Cheadle's War Machine and the President of the United States, I think. And it's weird because the President isn't yet Thunderbolt Ross, which is weird because we know in Thunderbolts, he's going to be the President of the United States, played by Harrison Ford. So maybe he's going to kill this person off in this show. I forgot to turn the TV on 1 second. There, now you got some stuff in the background. Fury then meets up with this lady Sonya, and I feel like Sonya is sort of the equivalent to Nick Fury of Russia. She's very devious, she's very secretive, she has a whole team, and her and Nick Fury seem to go way back. She's sort of aware of this Skrull invasion that's happening and wants to stop it just the same as Nick Fury does. It's cool because we sort of have two sides of each group. We have two sides of humans, the Russians and the Americans, which the Skrulls are trying to pit the Russians against the Americans to cause all-out war. And we also have the good Skrulls with Talos and the sort of radical terrorist Skrulls with Gavik. Gavik is a character we haven't seen yet, but he is the leader of these radical Skrulls. And their whole goal is to take over the Earth to be their own form in their own planet. While he is meeting with Sonya, he actually puts a little secret device on this little owl, and this kind of reminds me of Night Owl from The Watchmen. I'm in the middle of reading that book and I love it so much. I'm so close to finishing it. Great story. But it just reminded me of that. This is so Nick Fury can keep an eye on Sonya and all the stuff that she's doing with, her Secret Service. After that, we go back to Moscow and we see this guy enter sort of a camp area that's blocked off. We finally get to meet Emilia Clarke's character, Gaia. She's going to be playing the daughter of Talos, and she is actually on the side of Gavik here, not with her father. We see this giant safe haven where Skrulls can live freely and not have to hide from everybody and actually be their true selves. So yes, they do have good intentions, but like every villain, they go about it the wrong way. Gaia is sort of high up on the ranking in this group, and we see her visit this lab where they're experimenting on humans, and what they're actually doing is quite interesting. If we remember back again to Captain Marvel, Skrulls could imitate people, but not necessarily remember all the memories that a normal human had, whereas here they have humans hooked up to this machine that allows them to insert their memories into the Skrulls' bodies. So therefore, these Skrulls can be more accurate portrayals of human beings. It's very scary if you think about it. Later, we see Gaia meet up with this painter who is giving her bombs in exchange for some money. The whole plan is for the Skrulls to stage these terrorist attacks so that the humans can blame other humans and the Skrulls can eventually rise to the occasion. Nick Fury tries to intercept this with Maria Hill, but it doesn't go accordingly, and actually the seller was also a Skrull as well. So it's very difficult already to tell who's a Skrull and who is a human. And I think that's going to be the greatest strength of this show. Also, another interesting thing is back when Sonya was talking to Nick Fury, she didn't know his favorite drink, so at the moment I really thought, is she a Skrull? And I said that about 5 times throughout this episode while watching it because you just don't know. It's a very fun guessing game, and I can't wait for the series to actually evolve into more of that as we progress forward. So after they dispose of the painter, which Nick Fury actually kills him because, well, he has to, Talos didn't want him to kill him because he's a Skrull as well, but, you know, he had no other choice. Maria Hill spots Gaia leaving and follows her. Talos tracks her down, and then he finally realizes that the person he is chasing is his daughter. He hasn't seen his daughter in so long, and he finds out that she is actually working for the people that he's up against. Talos tries to reach Gaia and let her know that she's in the wrong fight. Talos lets Gaia know that her mother actually passed away, and Gaia missed all of this because she was off with these terrible people, and not only that, but the reason her mother is dead is because of them. Nick Fury meets up with Maria Hill at a bar, and we have a really sentimental moment where they meet up with each other and sort of, catch up. But at the same time, Maria is sort of badgering down on him because, well, he's different. And this is very much an older Nick Fury, a very disgruntled Nick Fury who doesn't necessarily have that edge that he had in previous installments. He's much more careless. He's less mobile, he's less secretive. And Maria points this out to him that, with this, he's going to lose. If he doesn't go back to the way he was, if he isn't more careful, he's going to lose this fight because this is serious. This isn't something he can afford to make a big mistake on. Later on, we see Gaia meet up with Talos, and we think that she turns to the good side. Talos lets her know what she's doing is wrong, and if she wants to avenge her mother and return good, she has to stop this. She's carrying dirty bombs that's gonna kill hundreds of people, and if she doesn't stop this, she may never come back. So Gaia helps to betray the other group and help her father. They find out where the dirty bombs are going to be, and they all can be there to intercept them and stop them when the time comes. So when they get to the public place where this explosion is about to take place, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Talos all try to intercept the bombs. Gaia tells them they're in these backpacks, and when they finally get the backpacks, they're empty. It was another double cross, and not only in the sense that we thought someone who was a human was a Skrull, but in the sense that we thought someone was on our side. Another great twist. This episode had so many twists and turns, and I'm really just hoping they keep this up. We see Gavik eye down Nick Fury and actually detonate the explosive. And this was a terribly brutal scene. This is violence at the highest order, and not only that, but some other things happen. We see Maria Hill go up to Nick Fury, and all of a sudden, he shoots her. And at that moment, I thought to myself, oh my god, he can't trust anybody. He just shot Maria Hill thinking she was a Skrull. But actually what happened was Nick Fury wasn't Nick Fury. Nick Fury was Gavik. It was another imposter syndrome situation, and this just made me lose it. I can't hold on to anything here. There's no grounding that I can stand on. There's no way to get my footing. And funny enough, this is something Maria Hill says earlier on in this episode. It was a great send-off for her, and I can't believe they actually kill her in this show. This sets the stakes very high. I sat there with my hands on my head in complete shock that they just killed off Maria Hill in the first episode. Now, who knows if she's actually dead, but I do think she is. This is going to be the catalyst that causes Nick Fury to not trust anybody and to set in motion the rest of this series. I thought she was going to be in this entire show, but I guess not. And as soon as that happens, Gavik turns back into his human self, and we find out all of this has been a ruse. All of this was just a ploy to get the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents back here. After Maria Hill's death, the episode ends. And this is how you start a TV show. This is Marvel sort of going back to their serious roots, and while we've only seen one episode, I think it's very promising for the rest of this show. This feels like an actual episodic television show. While it is 6 episodes, the episode itself was almost an hour, and that is enough time to tell a compelling story and a serious story at that. I don't know if I necessarily love Nick Fury's new tone and sort of attitude, but they play into that by talking to Maria Hill and showing him that he is different than he used to be. The blip changed him, and he's no longer this leader figure that we all thought he was going to be. So maybe by the end of this series, he's going to turn back into that figure. I think we really need to see that, but I do think he was maybe a little bit too playful, especially in the scenes with Sonya. Other than that, I love this. I love Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, such a compelling character already. We haven't seen him in a while, but man, it was good to see him back. I love Emilia Clarke as Gaia. I think she's gonna give a great performance in this show, and I can't wait to see where they go from here because the book is open. The pages are empty. They're waiting to be written. We gotta see where this goes because they've introduced so much, and even in the United States, we saw Rhodey and the president, but they never touched on it again. I'm glad we can talk and speculate about this every week because this really feels like the successor to WandaVision. Not in the sort of same show sense, but in the sense that we're going to be able to think about this week after week instead of leaving on a cliffhanger that we know how it's going to play out. We have to make theories about this. We have to understand that what we think is going to happen probably isn't, because there were about 10 times in this first episode where you see it going one way and it turns a 180 and it's something you didn't expect. Guys, let me know down below what you thought about this episode and leave a comment, please, and a like and subscribe. It's free. And I will see you all very, very, very soon.